I stayed with CrossFit Coconut Grove and Coral Gables, so this was perfect location. So then we shut both of those locations down and moved everybody in here. And we've been here. We've been in a battle between the aesthetics, the outside aesthetics, keeping it for the community and how it looks, or not. So that's the fight that we've had over the past couple of years. Is what do we do? So the inside looks like a total training facility. The outside looks like an old school, cottage type of thing. We got some good people, some good members that have been here for quite some time and have supported us for years. We've been around since 2009.
So tell me how you got into fitness, because I mean, tell everybody you're a firefighter, but you're also an entrepreneur. So how did you get into that? And I know that you're into the CrossFit. So
it started a little bit by chance. Idle hands are the devil's playground. I don't know if you've ever heard that saying. And when I became a fireman, I have a football background, so I knew a little bit about sports performance, if you will, only because I practiced it on myself, and then I was training some other guys for the fire service. And it came where once I got into that routine after my rookie year of, okay, I got 48 hours to really do stuff with my life. And what was I passionate about? I was passionate about training. So it kind of was, all right, let's, come with me. I'm going to go to at the time, the Orange Bowl was still around, and Tropical Park Hill and sprints and all that stuff. So I would bring guys with me, and they would train with me that were either already in the fire service or looking to get into the fire service.
Okay.
And then from there, it just kind of evolved into boot camps, female boot camps. And it was more the female side of it, because now I was crossing over into that demographic where some of these women wanted to train right after school. A lot of them were teachers, right after school, get it in, get it out. And I was already doing sprints at schools.
Right.
So just by serendipitous, if you will, it just kind of evolved into boot camps. But Miami, typical Miami weather, at 4 o'clock, we know it's going to rain, so I needed a location. And then that's how I found a location with Nick Alvarez over in Doral. And then once he saw my product, and once I ventured off into CrossFit, I went and got a level 1 certification.
Was you were with I Am CrossFit?
That's how it developed. That's how I Am CrossFit started. I Am CrossFit started. I went that weekend. I took my cert. I came back and I'm like, dude, there's this thing called CrossFit. I just did a weekend certification. I thought I was in the best shape of my life, and I got my ass kicked by a lot of these coaches out there. I'm like, this is something that I want to venture off into, and it exploded. At that time, I believe that
you were the first.
Third.
Well, the biggest the first that I even heard of was, that location.
Yeah, so we had, I believe, CrossFit Threshold and CrossFit 305 were right before me. And then when I Am CrossFit took off, call it location, call it perfect timing, call it perfect partner, call it all those things, a combination of all of them, it exploded. And we were in a 3,000 square foot bay warehouse right next to 2 auto repair shops. And we couldn't pack them in enough. It was just, we had 80-person classes. The energy was through the roof, the vibe, the danger, the chaos. It was amazing. We were brainstorming ideas on how do you don't want to leave anybody out, you don't want to leave money on the table, but how do you keep people safe?
Right.
And then from there, my partner had the vision of, we need to move to another location. We need to open another location.
In 2008, you did have, did you see a turn down, like, a slowdown in the gym, or you actually saw?
No, we saw. So 2008, that's when we came. That's when we discovered CrossFit. That being behind CrossFit.
That's when you opened up.
Yeah, that's when we opened up the first one in the world. And then from there, we went Doral, Gables, Brickell, Coconut Grove, South Miami, Little Havana, and the Keys. Wow. So we were everywhere. And the strike while iron was hot. And it was hot. And everybody was doing CrossFit, and everybody loved it. And it went from underground to mainstream. And we took advantage of it, and we loved every minute of it. And we had 80 coaches over the time. We had thousands of members. We had Civil War games. We did competitions. We did PDO challenges. It was a great moment in Miami CrossFit history. It was unlike any other. From that grew Crush Games, which was my event.
Right.
Wadapalooza.
I was gonna ask you about those two
Yeah.
because I know those are two big events, and I know that you're a part of it.
Yeah. So
tell me a little more about both of them.
We took a 2011 team over to the CrossFit Games, and just now being entrepreneurial minded, you're walking around and saying there needs to be more of these things. Like this is just energizing and addicting. So we could do one of these things, with our manpower down in Miami, and that's where Crush Games evolved. And it was a one-day event at the Magic City Casino, and it exploded. And at that point, we realized there's something here, bigger and badder. And we, Guido opened up Wadapalooza. Guido, a good friend of mine from 360, opened up Wadapalooza, and we did it 5 months apart. And Crush Games kept growing, and we went from Magic City Casino to BB&T. Inside the arenas, so it was fantastic. We ran it for 6 years. Guido owned Wadapalooza, I believe, for 7 years. Huge events down here in South Florida. From here, you had guys like Julian Serrano, Noah Olson, which is the second fittest man in the world right now. So you had big names just continuing to breed down here in Miami and their athletes. So all of that just spiked during 2013, 14, 15, 16. And we took advantage of it. We opened up a supplement company. We went down that road. So we had our hands in every little aspect of the CrossFit world, if you will. So good days, and then at that point we decided, we're going to focus in on one gym. So Nick kept the huge I Am CrossFit over in the Dorado, and I kept CrossFit Coconut Grove and CrossFit Gables, merged it into what now is Trinity. And it's been awesome ever since. We've had members that's been with us. We call them legacy members. They've been with us for 10 plus years. Wow. So we can't get rid of them if we try. That's good stuff.
So crazy. So I love how you evolved throughout the years. Now tell me now the pandemic. I know that you were a big part of putting things together with what mayor you were talking to. You had a group of people.
Both.
It
was. It's the irony is that one of our members is the City of Miami member, Francis Suarez, that was the third person down here in Miami to catch COVID. And he announced it, he went live, and we shut down that door. I'm a paramedic, I err on the side of caution. I'm very careful in the way that I take care of my members. And we shut down just so that we could gather information. This is before the actual mandate to shut down. We shut down 5 days prior to everybody else and assessed the situation, and then learned as much as we possibly could about it. And then during that pandemic, we immediately went digital. And we started offering, obviously, online classes and Zoom. We actually created a competition during the pandemic online.
Is that the one you're doing right now?
No, this is a whole nother one. This is post pandemic. But during that one, we actually created a competition online with a leaderboard with the whole night, just to keep these guys engaged and to distract them from what we were all going through at the time. So, fortunately for us, we made it on the back end. We redid the way that the actual gym is set up. The rig on itself was against the wall, and we brought it out to the center of the floor so that we could do 10-foot distancing. So even before the county mandated 10-foot distancing, we had already had this in place. So everybody has their own spot, everybody has their own station, everybody comes in, they wear masks while they work out. Everything that the county asks us to do, and then some. And we do it for the safety of our members, make sure that everybody's taken care of. And knock on wood, we haven't had any breakouts. We haven't had any person get sick from it. We've had one is a coach, one is a member. They got it from outside sources. They quarantined. They're both healthy. They're both doing just fine, and nothing's really come out of it. And that's what's important to us. If we were a hub, a melting pot for this virus, it'd be something that would be extremely scary for us. And the first thing we would do is shut down and make sure that everybody's safe. This is the first place that we're actually doing a 1,000-pound club challenge. So we're coming in here and we're testing bench press, deadlift, and squat. And the goal is to hit 1,000 pounds. And if you do, you get a shirt that says 1,000-pound club. And it's, again, just all we can do to keep these members active, keep them distracted from all the crazy things.
Cool idea.
Listen, we have 7 amazing coaches that all they have is time on their hands to think of how we can keep the members engaged. And I'm open to all the ideas. This isn't a dictatorship type stuff. From our head coaches to our social media director. One of them has a great idea, we throw it on the table, we explore it. If it makes sense, let's go with it. If it doesn't make sense, put it to the side, next idea. So, and we've been in the game for 11 years. So a lot of the stuff we've already done in the past, and we know what works and we know what doesn't work. So we know what to spend our time.
So crazy.
Yeah.
I'm always surprised at what you come up with. Always. I'm like, what's this guy doing now?
Yeah, always brainstorming. Is that you got to keep it moving. Competition here in South Florida is fierce. You know this. I mean, we have just within 3 square miles, we have 4 big competitors. And if you're not up on your game, and you don't have member engagement, they're not seeing results. If you're not building some type of culture, they're going to leave because they have options. If this was, Podunk, Wisconsin, no offense, where they didn't have an option, you could be a little bit lazy and mediocre, if you will, because they're not going to go anywhere. But here, boy, the minute they don't like you, all piece of equipment is broken, or they don't like your culture, they don't like something that you're saying, boom, they're gone. They have options. Right. So you got to stay up in your game. You got to build that loyalty, because if not, you're going to leave. I've been through it for 11 years, and members have come over to me from other gyms, and I've lost members to other gyms. It just depends on your preference. But you got to stand up. And then because of the fact that we get so much member participation, 47 participating in September, which is just a simple little challenge. That inspires us to okay, what else can we do for them? And it was a free challenge for these guys. There was no extra fee or anything for that. It's just ways for us to give back. The beauty of this whole thing, and what I didn't mention during the pandemic, was when we were shut down for those 9 weeks, members kept paying. And we're a high ticket item. This isn't cheap, but they wanted to keep supporting us. And without any product, it's like going to a restaurant, you're paying for the bill, but you didn't get any food. That's what they did. And because of them, we were able to keep the doors open, we were able to stay alive, and open the doors on the back end, and the people flooded in, and it was awesome to see the results.
I'll tell you a little bit about mindset, because I know you're really big on it. You talked to me earlier about Tony Robbins, and I really want to hear on your take on that, and how you brought that into your gym and to the real world, and to your kids and everybody else.
Yeah, mindset it's like eating, right? It's like soul timber. If I'm trying to gain weight, I got to eat as much as I possibly can. Mindset is the same thing. You constantly got to feed yourself this stuff. It just doesn't happen naturally. No matter how good you are, you always got to be pounding the same thing, trying to stay positive. And I have constant reminders, this is a fitness facility, right, but you don't see any quotes that deal with fitness. You see stuff that plays with your mindset, right? Like there's the same old cliche of if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So self-fulfilling prophecy, I think, is huge. And I preach this to my son and anybody that'll listen to me, is that if you think you're dumb, ugly, and stupid, trust me, you're dumb, ugly, and stupid. That's who you are. But if you're confident, you believe in yourself, you think you're good looking, you think that you can bring value to people, that's how you're going to enter a room, and that's how people are going to regard you. And it's not to come off arrogant or narcissistic. It's only you have value to you, and you're going to deliver that value. So it's not a chicken or egg thing. It's not I'm successful, so I become confident. No, it's I'm confident, so then here comes the success.
You create your own reality.
Correct.
100%. That's what you're doing.
And that vibe bounces off of you, because it's very easy for somebody to come up to you and be negative, and then you reciprocate. You mirror that image of them, like, oh yeah, it is a crappy day, or it is, yeah, this pandemic is BS. No, wait a second. This pandemic has brought a lot of things that we never saw. Families are now going out for bike rides. So you spin it, whether you like it or not, just spin it into a positive light. So when it comes to mindset, it's constantly feeding myself through podcasts, through blogs, through audiobooks, going to bed at nights, even if it's one paragraph, just reading it. And it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be cringeworthy, right? Because you get that a lot, like, oh, this guy's kind of cheesy and stuff. I don't shovel it into anybody's mouth. If they ask me about it, I tell them about it. I tell them my experience with Tony Robbins. I tell them about the books that I read, and I tell them how it's changed my perspective. Right. We all have crappy days. I have crappy days, but goddamn, I'm not gonna let that crappy day continue everything else, every other aspect, and every other person that I come in contact with as the day goes on. I'm gonna try to eliminate that as quickly as I possibly can. So I think that mindset needs to be fed as much as you possibly can, to as much as it feeds your needs. So if you need to be positive for your children, for your business, then there's a reason enough for you to practice this mindset. But it just doesn't come from I'm going to be positive today. No, you need affirmations. You need a vision board. You need to read. You need to listen. You need to surround yourselves with those types of people. So that constant behavior will end up in output versus input type. So whatever I put out there is what I'm going to get in. Have you ever read the book The Secret?
Yeah.
Okay. So then you know all about it. So in that law of attraction, I'm going to put it out because it's going to come back to me. And that's what I try to practice, especially with my 11-year-old. And my 11-year-old, he has this eye roll moments where here's Poppy once again talking this nonsense. But I swear I'm going to pound it into him until he believes in himself and understands that the way that you carry yourself is how other people are going to see you. If you're confident and you portray this, that's who the people want to follow. They want this leadership role. They want them to that positive personality. I met Tony Robbins at a Pitbull concert. I went to Pitbull concert and it was, you have celebrities everywhere, and I could, not that I could care less, but all right, it's cool to see all these guys around me. But Tony Robbins is sitting in the same row, and Jess taps me and she's like, "Isn't that the guy that you follow?" And I'm like, and I got nervous. I'm like, "Oh my God, that's fucking Tony." And he's larger than I. He's smiling at me, and I was like, that, not that he is, he's constantly pushing that. And one of the concepts that he has is that if you let one of these negative aspects in your life dominate you, that's exactly what it's going to do. It's going to dominate you, and it's going to ruin every other aspect of it. So one of the easiest cliches that he says all the time is get the fuck over it. Get over it. Just get over it and move on. It's the same thing with this pandemic. You get over it and you move on type of thing. You take into consideration all the safety, but if you keep bullshitting and talking stuff and trash on social media and putting all that bad energy out there, we talked about this earlier, it's going to come back to you. And you're going to attract those types of people. And I want that shit. I want the people to unfollow me. I want the positive. I want the people that message me and go like, "Hey, I didn't say anything, but I also have a vision board. And here's the picture. I got a lot of that."
I know that you put something up that somebody was, that something negative and you turned it into a positive.
For sure.
A lot of people, I saw a post. Everybody was saying, "I got a vision board. I did this. I accomplished the other thing."
For sure.
And all of that, inspired me to, wow, I got to up my game too, because I'm like, man, my vision board, I haven't updated in a while. So, let me see what I could do, in that aspect. So I was like, I was pumped up.
Absolutely. It was inspiring to be around a guy that, and it's funny because he said to me, when we got into the conversation, he said, "You've said a couple words today that made me realize that you drank the Kool-Aid. So I'm going to open up to you, and I want to show you something." And we started talking about his business, and I said, what was your driving force? Because he had told me how many times he had failed.
Right.
I said, "But what was your driving force to this?" And he opened it up, and there was his vision board. And sure enough, everything on his first vision board came true, and now he's on the second vision.
Since they don't know what you're talking about, just give them just like a synopsis of what you're describing there, and the story of
the story of how it happened. So I spent the week in Marco Island with another couple that we have, actually family. They're family, distant cousins, and the most time that I've ever spent with this gentleman, and obviously successful. He was in his car, he was building a $3 million house on the water. So obviously there's success around him, and I knew that he had sold his business in the past. And a couple of drinks later, we're having a conversation, and I tell him straight up like, "Hey, let's talk business for a second. And I'm curious, what was the key to your success? How did you develop this? Tell me everything from the business itself to your mindset." And he said, "Because I've already picked up a couple of things from some of the stuff that you said, I'm okay sharing this with you. This was the driving force, and it was the vision force." He said, "This was on top of my computer, and I saw it every single day. And the way that I laid it out was such, every single thing that he put out there was a direct vision, laser sharp focus," which is Tony Robbins' cliches, laser sharp focus on the things that you want and be as specific as possible. And that's exactly what he did. And in the middle of it, he had bullets, and on those bullets it said, "This is how much I'm going to sell this company for. And this is what I'm going to do with the money, and this is how I'm going to get it." And sure enough, he hit every single one of those. And now he's on to the second vision. And he said, "Mike, I look at this every day, 2 or 3 times a day. I have affirmations that I use all the time." And if you actually take an affirmation and you look at it from far, you see somebody doing it, it looks silly. It looks cringeworthy.
And you even get, when I first started, I felt funny and I was like embarrassed.
Yeah,
Like even to say it in front of my wife.
Yes.
I'll be like, oh my God.
This is great. And then you pick up the practice of thankfulness.
Yeah.
So by showing gratitude for the things that you already have, like your health, like your gym, like your babies, those little simple things that you tend to forget about and take for granted, when you realize, I'm already successful, and all that does is breathe life back into you. Hard work you gotta put in the work. Right? Bill Gates, Bezos, Zuckerberg, they're brilliant minds, but they also put in the hours. They also put in the work. So, they have to do it. So you have to combine that mindfulness energy where you're gonna come out good on the back end, along with the work. Right? It just doesn't happen without one another. And then a good support group. So listening to him just inspired me. And now every morning we text each other. He sends me a quote from some of his apps that he uses, and I send him a YouTube video. And the way the algorithm works, here's YouTube, and it just spits motivation videos at you. And it's all these with music in the background. I mean, it fires me the fuck up. So I watch these, I listen to them every day. I'm in the car, I put on, I either switch back and forth. There's an app called Pep Talk. So anybody out there, look for it.
Download it because I don't have that.
It's fantastic, and it has everything from commencement speeches to motivational songs to anything that you need that you're in the mood for. You go down to Pep Talk. It's the best $9.99 you've ever spent, and it just keeps you, it keeps that noise in the background that keep you going with that kind of stuff. So it's just blocking out the bullshit and focusing on the things that are going to yield back, like what we're doing right now. Turn around and connect you to people that are a positive state of mind.
Tell me, first of all, thank you for even giving me the opportunity to
Yeah, this is awesome.
And tell them where they can find you, websites or anything, social media, they can find you.
For sure. So my Instagram is Mike, I think it's dot or period, Mike.Osuna is my Instagram. Our gym name is Train89, and you can just follow the links from there. We have a link tree, and you can follow them from there. And from online programming, because a lot of people don't even want to come back into the gym, from online programming to programming that other
You can find that on your...
Yeah, all that information's on there. And then my email is mike@train89.com if they want.
I'm going to put it all on the description
Yeah,
down
for sure.
below that way.
That'd be great. Awesome. All right, that's good stuff, man.